Hello, my friends, it's Lisa, and welcome to my January bullet journal setup, the first bullet journal setup of 2022. I'm so excited to have another year of monthly bullet journal setups. I'm so excited. Also, Happy New Year. I don't know, this is going to be one of the first videos going up on my channel in 2022, so I just wanted to wish you all a Happy New Year. So this is the first monthly setup. These are my January spreads, and for my theme for this month, I decided to go with this kind of ski mountain theme. So I have mountains in the background with the kind of ski lift going up to the top. I have a couple people skiing. I have an ice rink at the bottom, a little cabin. I just wanted to do something very cozy. I almost did this for my December theme, but I kind of wanted to do something more holiday, more Christmassy in December, so I decided to save this theme for January. Also, disclaimer for any inaccuracies in any of my doodles, I don't ski or snowboard or do any of those types of things, so it may not be the most accurate portrayal, but I still thought it'd be a cute theme and very wintry. So I am just using some Tombow markers as well as some Crayola markers to do a lot of the doodles, and I do go in with a paint pen to add kind of snow to the tops of the trees and the top of the cabin. The roof of the cabin is definitely looking a little incomplete right now, but I do go back and fix it and kind of color in the kind of top of the roof, and then I add the paint pen on top to make it look like snow, and I also add that detailing on all of the trees just to make it look like it freshly snowed. I thought that would be a nice effect. I also did draw some people on the ice rink skating, and I did draw one person skiing. It was a little bit more difficult drawing people with markers, so I didn't do a ton of them on this page. I also didn't want it to look too cluttered, so I only did a few people, but I really like the way it all turned out. Oh, and for the lettering, I just kept it very simple, just kind of did this very simple hand lettering because I didn't want it to be too distracting from the actual doodles and everything. And later on, I do go back and add like a gray drop shadow to the letters as well, just to add a little bit of something to the lettering so it wasn't super plain. But that is the main title page done, so we're now moving on to my calendar spread. I decided to keep my calendar pretty simple, like the actual calendar. I'm just going in with the black micron marker and doing the boxes. The boxes are also 5x5 in case anyone is wondering. I don't know if that's something people would like to know, but I find that that's a good size for calendar spreads because it's not taking up the entire page, but it's enough room to write anything I need to. But yeah, I'm just going in with the black micron pen to do the kind of actual calendar, and then I go in with my bluey gray Tombow marker, which any specific shades I'm using will be in the description, but I'm going in to write the days of the month. Then I'm going in with the gray marker just to do the kind of headers for the days of the week, and then I do kind of a similar drawing to what I did on the title page in kind of the empty space. So I'm just going in and drawing more mountains as well as a cabin and the little ice rink on the bottom just to kind of bring the theme into these pages. And I also write January on the top right hand side. But yeah, there's not a ton to add to these spreads other than the kind of doodles with the theme, because I used to, in my monthly like calendar spreads, have my trackers for my YouTube and Instagram growth, but if you watch my 2022 bullet journal setup, you will see that I kind of decided to do that as like one page at the beginning of the journal. So I'll just have every month in one place instead of doing it on my calendar spread. So I kind of had a lot more space on these spreads to kind of do more doodles and bring the theme more in and not have anything else other than the actual calendar and the doodles in here. And I really like the way that it looks. I like just having it be the calendar and the doodles and that's it. So yeah, I will have my 2022 bullet journal setup linked below in case you want to check it out. And now we're moving on to my next spreads, and if you've seen any of my journal videos before, these pages were where I typically would write what books I read and what movies and shows I watched throughout the month. I like to keep track of those things, but one at the beginning of my journal this year, at my 2022 just overview spreads, I have a bookshelf and a place to write down any movies and shows that I watched throughout the year. So I kind of decided to take away those spreads in the individual month because I have those spreads at the beginning. I also plan on starting a separate journal completely to track my reading, so do a reading journal, and so I just kind of felt like those kind of spreads weren't really necessary to have in my monthly setup when I have them, one at the beginning of this journal, and two, I'm going to have a whole separate journal just keeping track of my reading. It just seemed a bit excessive, so I decided to take those spreads out this month. I might go back to them in the future, I might add them back in, but I decided to try out not having them in my January spreads, so I'm just doing my habit tracker on the left-hand side, just went right into what I would typically do next. So for my habit tracker, I kept it pretty simple, just did a outline with the different colored markers I was using throughout these spreads to kind of outline the actual month and the days, and then I just wrote the habits that correlate with that calendar right next to it, and I kept it pretty simple. And now on the right-hand side, I'm doing my monthly favorites page, which also looks a bit different than normal. Typically, I divide my favorites into 4 different sections for music, entertainment, lifestyle, and just memories, but I found that the music section was always overflowing with things I wanted to include, and then the other boxes had a lot more space. So I decided to just do 2 boxes this month, one for music and then one for literally anything else. Memories, entertainment, anything like that will just go in that one box, and we'll see how it works out for me. And then to bring the theme into these pages, I'm just drawing a cabin on the bottom right-hand side of my favorites page, and then on the mostly habit tracker side, I do have a mountain with a ski lift, and I kind of tie those 2 doodles into both pages. I just bring the kind of picture, the theme into both of these spreads, which I really like. I like that they kind of bring the 2 pages together, and yeah, those are my habit tracker and favorite spreads done. So next on the left-hand side, this spread is going to be my clean out of 22 spread. So at the beginning of the year, I typically like to go through a lot of my belongings, my clothes, my desk, just everything, and kind of clean it out, get rid of stuff I don't need, donate anything. It's just something that I'd like to start the year off doing, get rid of anything that I didn't use in the previous year. It's just really nice to kind of have a fresh start in the new year. I do this periodically throughout the whole year, but I find that the beginning of the year is when I'm the most motivated to go through everything, and so I thought I would just have a whole page kind of dedicated to organizing that. I drew an ice rink at the bottom with some trees just to bring the theme into the page, but I kept it pretty plain so that I could kind of organize it however I wanted. I didn't want to divide it into any sections that I wasn't going to use or need. I just decided to keep it plain to kind of have it be sort of a brain dump for anything that I need to clean out. And then the right side is my brain dump page. So for anything else that is not regarding the cleaning out of my life and my space, I will write down there. It's always very helpful to have a brain dump page just to write down anything, any thoughts, anything you need to remember. It's just very helpful. And this is when I decided to go in and add the gray drop shadow to the lettering I did throughout these spreads. I was looking at my clean out and brain dump pages and I thought something was just missing. So that is what I decided to do, and I just am going back and adding that to all of the lettering throughout all of these spreads. And now we're moving on to the final spreads for January, which are my weekly spreads. So I have the first week on the left-hand side and the second week on the right-hand side, and these are the only ones I show because I kept them all the same. All my weekly spreads look like this, so I'm just going in and alternating the different markers that I used throughout the spreads to kind of create these lines to separate out the different days of the week. So I'm starting on the 3rd because I have the 1st and 2nd on my weekly spreads from last month. So that is where I started these. And then I also have a note section as well in the kind of 8th box on these spreads, just for anything else that might be happening the next week or anything that I just need to remember. I figured it might be helpful to have a little note section as well. And then I'm going in and adding some tree doodles on the bottom just to kind of bring the theme into these spreads a little bit, but not too much because I need space to write everything down. But that is it. Those are my January spreads done. I'm really happy with them. I really love the theme. This was such a simple theme to do. It was so quick because the doodles were really simple. So I'm really happy with it. As always, let me know down below in the comments what your theme for January is because I would love to know. But that is going to be it for my January bullet journal setup, the first monthly setup of the new year. Happy New Year, everyone, and I will see you in my next one.